Hello there people, this is Bruce Be Cool or Nintendo Bruce, and today on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's Decade Duels I'm going to show you how to gain more cards. So this is a tutorial episode rather than gameplay, but you know, there are a lot of questions I get of how do I get this many cards, are they random, are chocolate fire guards safe, things like that really, and hopefully I can answer most of those questions today for you. Now, for those of you that don't know, the only way to get cards besides downloading the packs is to earn points in the single player games. So you can't do it by going on live and dueling your friends or anything like that, unfortunately. Now, at the end of every game, whether you've lost or won, you'll find that you got a points total. We'll cover a little later how those points are calculated, but what you got to remember is 20 points is one card. And with that, there's a maximum of 15 cards you can win at the end of every game. So what you're going to try and aim for is 300 points or more to get the maximum amount of cards every game. Now, you're probably thinking, right, that sounds a lot. How the hell do I do that? Well, let me tell you. This first set of nonsense that I'm showing you here are the conditions on if you win. As far as I'm aware, these are all the things that I could find. I must say in advance, if any of you guys know of anything that I haven't listed, then pop it in the comments and I'll try and tag it onto the video in one way or another later on. But yes, winning conditions. Now, what you'll see all the time is if you win, you get 100 points at least. So that's automatically 5 cards in the bag. You've got other things here like match win if you're in the knockout stages. Win by inflicting battle damage only, that's pretty self-explanatory, the same as win by effect damage only. Destroying decks, so that's if you're using things like Morphing Jar, card destruction, etc. Win on opponent's turn, quite simple, if you're playing burns you'll probably win on the opponent's turn by acting secret barrel and things. Tag duel win, yes 50 points, but like I say, that's irrelevant, so we'll get rid of that. Win on partner's turn, again irrelevant. Win without taking damage, so perfect victory. Win with Exodia, final countdown. They are certain win conditions that you might or might not get depending on your deck. Win with 5 or fewer cards, including 0 cards in the deck. Win with opponent's life points at 0, so if you inflict 8,000 points of damage exactly, or obviously if they've gained more, you just got to finish them off for 0 exactly. Win with no more than 1,000 life points or 100 life points would bag you a ton of cards there. Win with 20,000 plus life points. You're never really going to do that realistically, not unless you're sitting around wasting time, so we'll get rid of that. And win in the first few turns. So I believe it's within the first 5 in-game turns, then you'll earn that. Now, as you can see, not a lot of points really for some of the win conditions, but as long as you win, that's 5 cards instantly in the bag for you. Now, going on to the next set. So, this is the amount of times that you do certain things. So you've got number of turns. The longer the game runs, you get an extra 2 points per turn. Number of times using a trap, number of times using a spell. On that front, what you want to do is if you know you're going to finish your opponent off, try and activate as many things as possible, because that way you're going to rack up an extra 2 points here or there, which could mean the difference between a card or not. So yep, go crazy near the end of your win. Cards you forced opponent to discard from hand, self-explanatory. Same with sending from deck to graveyard, so that's Needleworm. Cards you forced opponent to return to hand, so things like Penguin Soldier, what's the other things, like those bounce decks, Kelbeck, things like that. Number of opponent's cards removed from play, that's any way, shape or form, so whether that's Dimensional Prison, what's that other one, Macrocosmos, things like that really. Synchro Summons, Tribute Summons, Fusion Summons, Ritual Summons. They grab you 4 points per summon of that type. Number of opponents' monsters destroyed by an effect, as well as number of opponents' monsters destroyed by battle. Now, you have to do a certain amount of them for some strange reason. It might be 5 by effect, or more than 5 by destroyed by battle. To be honest with you, I couldn't tell you. I didn't have enough time to really go through the games because, well, let's face it, the computer players suck. And highest number of chain bonus. So it's 2 times the longest chain. So if you created a 3 times chain, then you get a lovely 6 points. Don't really worry about that one. I'll just highlight the ones which you might want to consider. Now, I've mentioned that cards you force your opponent to discard from hand and send from deck to graveyard, etc, etc. Remember, that's 4 per card, as well as removing cards from play. So it looks like you're going to get quite a lot of points just by using remove from play decks and deck out decks, which could be quite tasty. I mean, I've easily racked up to 500 points, just by using a deck out deck. So consider that. The next set here, so these are the more obscure things. Some of them you're going to do automatically anyway. So maximum attack equals 2 per increase of 1,000 attack points. So if you've got something with 2,000 attack, then yeah, that's 4 points. I wouldn't really worry about that. Maximum damage inflicted, you get 4 points for every 1,000 attack in one hit you do. So if you attack with 5-headed dragon, then that's 20 points you get, as long as all that damage is received. Maximum damage reflected, so that's if you're in defense mode and someone tries to beat you up with a 100 attacker monster. So that's not bad against a computer player, because even with the weakest monsters, they just have to see what your face downs are. And that's 4 points per 200 damage caused in defense mode. Difference in life points, 4 per 1,000 life points between you and the opponent. Comeback, that's if you get the danger music if you're running low on life points compared to your opponent, and then you go on to defeat them, but that's only 10 points. I wouldn't really worry about that. Unused traps, unused spells, unused special summons, you get little bonuses for that. Use your entire monster card zone, so fill it up with things like Scapegoat, or even if people put Ajama tokens on your side of the field, you get the point. Place 3 of the same card on the field, so if you've got 3 battery men on the field, or 3 wave motion cannons, then you get 10 points, but that's quite difficult to do, so I wouldn't really worry about that. And summon Chimeritic Overdragon or summon Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon bags you 20 points. Again, very, very specific in what you have to do there, so I wouldn't really worry about that. Now, that's all the points that I've figured out here. Again, if there's anything I haven't put down, then leave a comment and I'll try and whack it up on the video one way or another. Now, with all that gobbledygook, there's one thing to remember, which I've already mentioned. The more cards you play, the more points you earn. If you're playing deck out or remove from play, that's going to earn you a lot of points. Just straight up beatdowns and burns, you're going to average about maybe 160, 180 a match. It doesn't really rake it in. Now, speaking of raking it in as well, you are going to want to do preliminary tournaments over and over as opposed to the knockout stages, because the points don't accumulate in the knockout stages for the matches, and you only bag an extra 50 points just for it being a match win. Not worth it when you could get 2 duels out the way at 1,000 points if you really were good enough. On top of that, the cards. I've mentioned before that people have been asking whether it's random or whether they're set. The only things which seem to be set in stone is for the first times, if you beat Jack Atlas or Yusei, then you get at least 1 Red Dragon Archfiend or Stardust Dragon respectively of each other. Other than that, it is all random, unfortunately. So what can you do to remedy this if you're not finding certain cards? Well, you can go into the download features of Xbox Live and download the card packs. Now, the card packs themselves are specific for certain deck types, so don't feel you have to buy them all just to have a decent deck. I'll show you though the ones that you'd want to buy if you had none of these cards whatsoever, or just wanted to get straight into the game with at least a fighting chance because you get given a rubbish deck. I would heavily suggest the first 2. The first card pack has Mirror Force, Mystical Space Typhoon and Torrential Tribute, and that's 3 cards already which are excellent in almost any deck. The second card pack has Crush Card Virus, Cyber Dragon, Gauzy Emissary of Darkness, and I believe Morphing Jar as well. And again, pretty much those cards combined can make any deck half decent. So feel free to download those. Otherwise, just hack it out with the random card system. So hopefully that answers all your questions. If there is anything else, just jot them in the comments below or send me a message, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Anyway, you guys take care, and I'll see you again soon.